Gender euphoria, the best way I can describe that is like fully recognizing yourself, seeing yourself the way you want to be perceived. So like a lot of people, when they get top surgery for the first time, they're going to feel a lot of gender euphoria because they're seeing themselves, as they want to be perceived. So for people like me who want to be perceived as more of a thing than a person, doing stuff like this, intense makeup or clown makeup, like that's obviously going to make me feel gender euphoria because I feel like myself. I feel like I recognize myself.
Elmo's not going to play with Sally anymore. This playday is over. Wait, where are you going? Alaska. It's faster if you drive.
You're a cunt. I'm getting ripped tonight. R.I.P. that. When will we be free of the idea that hustle culture is supposed to liberate us? It won't. All it does is reinforce capitalism. And all capitalism does is uphold white supremacy. You can dismantle the master's house using the master's tools, as those were the tools that were used to build the house. But if you don't get rid of those tools and get your own, all you're going to be doing is rebuilding that same house. Hey!
Okay, not to sound like a complete bitch, but like genuine question. How many women do you think who just got fired from being nurses because of their refusal to get the COVID-19 vaccine are going to end up joining a pyramid scheme? Because I feel like the women who are drawn into nursing for like all the wrong reasons are the same women who will be able to be tricked into joining a MLM.
Cause I want you, so what you trying to do?
So I don't know if this is considered an unpopular opinion, but if you have a daughter, you need to stop calling her princess if you do. The way that Disney has branded the princess is based on her beauty as her most important asset. This term also encourages the damsel in distress that needs to be rescued by a man, and it doesn't focus on their intelligence or integrity or any other character trait. Why don't we call girls scientist, engineer, doctor? Like, why does it have to be something cutesy like, oh, princess, what do you need? Like, no. My daughter's father called her princess yesterday, and I had to lecture him again because we do not use that term in this house. Even my own sisters have called her princess, and I will tell them, don't call her that. Maybe I come across as very controlling, but I think it's a very harmful word, and she shouldn't look up to that term.
Titty so big, claw, my back hurt. They be bouncing when I move. 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 They be bouncing when I move.
Look, man, I wish we could afford Medicare for all, but we just can't. But an analysis by the Washington Post showed that it would actually save the U.S. economy $450 billion every year. Oh. Well, it'll still be a bad healthcare system because it will, the government will be in charge of everything, and that's dangerous. But the analysis also showed that it would save about 68,000 American lives every year. Yeah, but, here's, okay, loads of people would lose their jobs. What? Why are you looking? Oh, don't tell me. Yeah. It would create more jobs than it destroys as well? Yeah. Why don't I support this? I don't understand. Yeah, that's right. Look. Socialism's bad, and that's socialism, so...
Something that's been bothering me about the fact that Texas restrictive abortion laws are going in effect today is how a lot of American journalists and, commentators are comparing this to the Taliban and Sharia law. And I just want to point it out, if you don't already know this, if you can't already clock it, this is Islamophobia. What is going on with Texas right now has nothing to do with the racist boogeyman that you've conjured up in your mind. And it has everything to do with the fact that right-wing evangelism caused this. That's it. Point blank, period. It has to do with the fact that white people's birth rates are declining. And in a country where whiteness is power, that is a bad thing to them. It has to do with holding on to the systemic power that they've had for so long that they will do anything, including making sure that they harm women and children to keep the status quo. It has to do with white supremacy. That's why this is happening.
Fuck niggas from all angles. Skirt, skirt, hold up, pull up, take your main, hold it sweet. She gone off the molly, I'm gone off the weed.
Started the day with warm lemon water, granola with oat milk and cashew butter for breakfast, a bar for a snack. I try to drink 2 of these a day. A Mediterranean bowl for lunch, almonds for another snack, curry with coconut rice and a sweet potato for dinner, and my sister made brownies for dessert.
Isn't it crazy how it's a spotlight on mental health right now, but nobody wants to talk about the PTSD in the inner city? They just want to talk about like anxiety and depression. A friend in the military went over to Syria and they told him that they have the same amount of shootings in Syria as they do in Detroit. People go to war and come back crazy, and people are sitting here living in it and nobody cares. Mental health only applies to white people. If a white person does something crazy, it was mental health. But when somebody watches their brother get killed, then goes out and commits a murder, he's just a thug. When Kyle takes his dad's AR-15 and goes into school with it, we gotta ban assault weapons, but kids have been dying every day in the hood my whole entire life and nobody seemed to care.
Can we talk about how techno-Orientalism makes it so that being East Asian and being queer are considered to be mutually exclusive? Studies have shown that queer East Asian Americans are seen as more American than their straight counterparts, which reveals how being queer is considered separate from Asianness. But the question is, what makes queerness non-Asian? When we think of what East Asia is in the Western imagination, there's a broad trend in how the depiction of East Asia as technologically advanced usually comes with this idea of East Asians as robotic-like. Think about what it means when we're called human calculators. However, what it means to be queer in the West means being connected to your sexuality and emotions. But because East Asians are seen as mechanical and robotic, it seems impossible for us to be sexual, emotional beings, and therefore we can't be seen as queer.
Do y'all remember when people got upset that I put 3 scrambled eggs instead of 2 into my breakfast hash that I ate? And people went wild about it? Thin privilege, fat phobia, you're welcome.
Talk right now. I'm doing hot girl.
Fuck being good, I'm a bad bitch.
So this comment was put on a video that had absolutely nothing to do with politics, but let's dive in because teaching is political. The education system, the curriculum, school zoning, funding, standardized testing, all of these things can create and further lead to class and racial inequalities and impact life chances for our students. Especially as a history teacher, my students deserve somebody who is going to confront and challenge the injustices and untruths that are in our history that have led to discrimination. So yes, teaching is political because as we develop curriculum and have conversations with our students, equity and anti-racism need to be in the forefronts of our minds, as well as giving our kids the means to gather factual information and form their own opinion. But this is wildly different than indoctrination or propaganda because I'm not trying to sway my students' opinions. I want them to form their own educated opinions. What I'm doing is challenging a broken system and hopefully laying the groundwork for progress and justice.
Is Pete white? Is he black? Ann Coulter needs to know if she can decide if she hates him.
You know, Ann describes herself as a polemicist, but most people call her a cunt.
Ann Coulter is one of the most repugnant, hateful, hatchet-faced bitches alive. But it's not too late to change, Anne. You could kill yourself.
know skinny people who eat a ton of food and never seem to gain weight. So why do we have such a hard time believing that there are plenty of fat people in our lives who don't overeat, who don't ever lose weight? Genetics plays a huge part.
We have to look at the implications of this video. He hates this lady so much, if there was an option to kill her in death, he would. What?